What is going on, good people? I know that I just put that story up that I wasn't going live, but I have changed my mind. Listen, this is going to be so good, but just for the record, I am on my phone in the room, in the bed, because I am not feeling well, but I believe that I have to deliver this word. Like, I believe, hi class, hi Carrie. Listen, this is going to be so powerful. I wouldn't be on here like this, not feeling well, uh, like not feeling well at all. I'm sharing this out, guys. Not feeling well at all. Laying across the bed, no ring light, none of the things, but I just have to share this. And I don't really know how God is going to have me start, but I'm looking for somebody, y'all. All right. Hey, Dom. So listen, I was not going to go live, and I know like the lighting isn't good. I hope that you guys can hear me okay. Hi, brother. Hi, everybody. But I have to share this. So I've been sick for like the past couple of days, but in these past couple of days, um, what's that little purple thing? That's cute. But in this past couple of days, like I've been really spending a lot of time like going over things that I have been through. Like going over my old journals, going over the old books that I've written. There's one that God didn't have me release, but my friend called me after her live just a second ago, and I'm early. I didn't even. I thought it was already after 12:30. I've been doing okay. I've been sick for a couple of days. I think what's happening is my husband now works like in a kill plant. Like, I hope TikTok doesn't hear that wrong, but he processes chickens. And before, he had always worked in meat and food processing, but he had worked at the end where he wasn't dealing with live animals. And now he is like, he's a maintenance director. So he has to touch all the equipment, which has all the stuff on it. And I think that our bodies, like, I'm going to have him do better sanitation processes when he gets home, because I think that even my dog was sick. Like, it's been quite insane. We've been sick a lot since he started this job, so we gotta change up how we're doing stuff. But anyway, my friend called me after her live. Like, Dom is Empower Her community too. If you follow her and then click the link in her bio, follow her YouTube, because she goes live um, Monday through Friday at 10 o'clock a.m. But God has been dealing with me, her, and our friend Ken, and our other friend Carrie, just about pride all year long, right? So he had me write the ebook. He has Ken doing some amazing things on discipline, and Dom is doing this Don't Hide challenge. Well, she called me to give me a testimony, and I'm like, listen, we are just celebrating you. Like, we don't have that testimony as of just yet, but I know that it's coming. So I really do have a point. This is all about to tie together for you. So, like I said, I have been sick. Everything is going well. So everything is going well. Like, everything is going well. I'll share the testimony about a job here in a minute. But Dom, what do I want to say? Like, I don't feel okay. So she was sharing with me her testimony, and I was telling her how I was rereading this book that I had written, and I was rereading my old journals, and God was really showing me like the details of what happened. He was basically telling me like, this is another opportunity for you to get it right. So I was telling her that as I was reading it, like almost to the like every little detail, God is showing me like how he already called me to do what it is that I was doing. But in my frustration, or in my lack of belief, or in my lack of faith, I chose to come into agreement. Hi, Janice. I chose to come into agreement with something that was oppositional to the word of God and the plan of God for my life. Like, I have shared this testimony with you guys before. Back in 2021, I am blessed and highly favored. Hi. Back in 2021, I had made this decision. Back in 2020, I had made this decision that I was going to leave corporate America, right? And when I left corporate America, I made an announcement on Facebook that's back when like, I don't even know if TikTok was around then. And I said that, thank you for the heart me. And I said that I was going to be reopening my coaching practice and I was going to be taking more one-on-one clients. I made this declaration, like, say on a Monday. I think it was like the 16th of August, right? And then on the 17th, I woke up that morning to a message that I had gotten that night before from a therapist that asked me, that said, like, I have been following you for quite some time. Thank you for helping me with my goal. I have been following you for quite some time, and I want you to be my life coach, right? And I was so excited. I testified about it on Facebook, and then I woke up the next morning to a message that she had sent me the night before. Hi, King James. The message that she had sent me the night before, and it was saying, like, I don't want you to be my coach anymore because it would be a conflict of interest. I need you to coach all of my clients. So I went from not knowing, not having a plan of what I was going to do, just following the voice of God on leaving my job, which, number one, it took me 6 months to actually do that, okay? So I went from having no clients to having over 50 clients that I had to serve. Do you understand this? And so then, like, during this time, I got to tell y'all the whole story so you can understand this. So it's going to kind of go back and forth because this is just the way that I'm remembering it. So back in 2017, I was rereading my journal, my prayer journal, right? I had begun to ask God to remove my husband from his job and to give him double. This is not a lot. This is so powerful. And to give him double. So by 2018, he had left his job. He had gotten another job, which was one position higher, and then within 30 days, he had gotten within that company, he had gotten another job, which was another position higher. So he literally had left his job and had gotten double. I need you to understand this, because as much as this is a testimony of the goodness of God, this is a testimony of what will happen when you start to walk in disobedience and you start to depend on yourself, right? So I need you to know that God answered that prayer, right? But how many of you know, like, the enemy, like, God has, like, he knew you before you were in your mother's womb. He knew exactly what it is that he needed you to do on this earth. He knew exactly how he wanted you to move and operate in this earth. And as long as you are dependent on him and as long as you are focused on him, that is how you are going to be blessed, right? So here we are. Now we are we have met these people when I was in nursing school. And these people had, like, a different lifestyle. I'll leave it at that. Like, they had a different lifestyle, right? And when I became aware of the lifestyle, I began to ask God to move, like, because my husband had gotten, like, very involved in them, like, really good friends with them. We hung out with them a lot, and, like, he didn't see what I saw in that moment. And I was like, they just, like, he don't want to go to church no more. He don't want to pray. And I'm like, God, we gotta remove him from our life, like, because he's not listening to me. Number one, like, that should have always been my posture. That posture came. Thank you so much for lighting up my gift gallery. But that posture came in obedience to God from a previous mistake that I had made, right? So when God moved, I remember, like, when I tell y'all we was going to move, like, we was looking at places like South Dakota. We was looking at places like Washington. We were looking at, like, y'all, like, so I'm from Ohio, just so you know. So this is, like, how far I was willing to go to. This is crazy. That is how far I was willing to go to save my marriage, to save our family. Thank you so much for lighting up my gift gallery. I really appreciate you, blessed and highly favored. But that is how far I was willing to go, right? I need you to understand the trick of the enemy, okay? I need you guys to really get this. I do not, like, number one, I'm not going to go through it again, but I don't want anybody, like, under the sound of my voice, who will ever watch this video, who will ever watch the replay, I don't ever want you to go through what I went through. So God moves us. He just moves us up the street to Columbus, right? He moves us up the street to Columbus, and I just began to say, like, God, Lee, I don't want these people coming up. Like, this is true. I'm telling you the truth, okay? They started coming up a lot. And at this point, I feel like instead of me going back to God, which is what I should have done, right? And saying, hey, these people still coming up here. The whole purpose of me trying to leave is, like, these people is a detriment. Their influence that they have on my husband's life is too much. Like, it's pulling us away from you. I didn't go back to God. I started to get mad at my husband. My husband was speaking to me like crazy during this moment, during these times. Hi, Robin. Like it was all hi Taylor's, but it was all kind of craziness going on, right? So instead of doing what I should have done, talking to God about it, right? Going into spiritual warfare, praying for my husband, being the easier that I now teach women how to be. I was like, oh, he don't want to listen, he don't want to lead, I don't want to be with him no more. Okay. So how did this manifest in my life? Y'all remember the people who I just got, that God had just blessed me with, that all these clients that I had, that it was almost too much for me? I began to say, I don't want to do this no more. Because here I am, like during this time, I am coaching these women. We're talking about praying and fasting. We are studying the word. Like we are living our life out through this. And I began to say, well, God, if he ain't listening, why I got to stay with him? I need you to understand that the enemy comes to kill, steal, and destroy. I need you to understand that even though I have been teaching on this and I have been talking about this and I've been sharing this testimony basically all year since March, the revelation that God gave me, like that one agreement that I made, that feeling of, because I'll tell you what I felt, is I felt hopeless. I felt like he was never going to become who God called him to do. I felt like I was always going to be the one carrying the load in my marriage spiritually. I felt like he was never going to be able to talk to me with respect. I felt like he was never going to, I felt hopeless, right? And then I came into agreement with that. Me coming into agreement with that translated into, I'm talking to a lady one day. One of my clients that I had even before the therapist had given me those 50 clients, right? And I said, you know what? I remember her name. Like, I still know her. She's asking me to start back coaching. It's so funny. And I said, but you know what? I ain't even feeling that. Like, I don't even want to tell you to pray and fast. Like, I ain't even feeling that no more. Like, I don't want to lead you. I don't want to encourage you. Hi, Watkins Realtor. I don't want to encourage you to stay in this abusive relationship with this narcissistic man. Like, this is what I'm saying to her. Like, I need you to understand. God answered my prayer. Like, I just need you to understand how tricky the demonic world is. Pride is the seed, it's the door, it's all of it. It's insane. So I told her I can't even tell you this no more. Like, find somebody else to do it. And I literally refunded that woman her money for that coaching session. And I was like, God, I ain't doing this no more. I called the therapist and I was like, nope, like this does not align with my beliefs anymore. I cannot keep telling these women to stay and pray. I can't do it. Okay? God literally opened this door for me. And I was like, no, because my feelings were hurt, because I felt hopeless, I came out of alignment. So then it got deeper, right? It got deeper. So now, like, even though I'm still waking up every day and I'm still praying and I'm still studying my Bible, but it's less and less now. Why? Because then this opportunity presented itself to me. This opportunity that I never prayed for. As a matter of fact, it went against everything that I had prayed for. I need you to understand, like, I was so detailed in what I asked God for concerning my business. I wanted a micro business that I can make millions of dollars, and that I didn't have any employees. What the enemy do but then give me this opportunity to have this Amazon delivery service that I never wanted. Like, I need you to understand, like, this stuff that God is revealing to me this morning. And what happened? It took all of my time. Yep, I was making mass money. When I tell you, like, $20,000 a week was like the minimum that I would make, I was making mass money. But what was that teaching me to do? Because now I'm not even focused on the vision that God gave me, the vision that, like, we partnered together to write. Now I'm focused on the money, and now I'm focused on taking care of these people, right? So now I'm focused on being the best. And I'm not saying that this is for everybody, but I'm saying this is my testimony. I never asked for it. That was never a part of what God's plan for my life was. That was never a part of what I had asked him for. That was never a part of what I even wanted. But I need you to understand that because I chose to walk out of alignment with what God said, I had to find something else, right? I had to find something else. And the something else that I found obviously was something that the enemy used to distract me. Why? Because that bought me nothing but warfare. Them people was stealing from me. Them people was stealing them people Amazon packages. Them people was wrecking my truck. Them people was trying to talk to my husband. They was trying to talk to me. Like, it was so insanely ridiculous. And then what's the next thing I do? I get into partnership with these people who literally, well, one of them is not, like, I'm not saying that everybody was sent from hell on assignment to derail me, but I'm saying When you open up the door to the demonic, you do not get a choice of what walks in. When you open up the door to agreement with the enemy, you don't get a choice of what walks in. And if you are not, and if you are not, TikTok just be saying stuff to me. And if you are not careful, you will find yourself going down a road that you never meant to go down. And you will be wondering why. How the heck did I get here? So I went through all of that. I then in my frustration, my anger, and my pride, my feelings, leaning to my own understanding and not acknowledging the Lord, I done left my husband. Right. This is my testimony from back in 2021. But again, I'm telling you, I never stopped praying. I never stopped. Like, I'm still fasting. I'm still praying, but I am so much in pride. I am so much in pride. I am so much like, I'm so angry with him. God, this could not be the man. Like, this is what I'm saying. There's no way that you sent me this man that won't even pray to you, that won't even acknowledge you to be my husband. I must have made a mistake. This has been the longest mistake of my life. This is what I'm confessing, right? The whole time God is like dealing with me internally, right? So then I'm about to get into a whole nother relationship. I had done decided I'm done with this because this man, he still ain't praying. He out here in these streets acting well. Like, this is it. I'm done. And then God sent me a dream. And this dream basically mirrored a dream that he had given me back in 2008 when my husband and I were going through something very similar. And then, basically he checked me. He warned me of what was going to happen if I did not become obedient to him. Not only what was going to happen to me, but what was going to happen to my husband. Like, he warned me. And he said I need to get back on track. So then I get back on track. But in my mind, I had made this decision. I had made this internal vow. That I would never, hi Matthew, I would never depend on my husband financially again. So I left the partnership. I obviously left the Amazon business. That was not for me. And I went back into working and nursing full time. I became the director of nursing at a facility. Still never considered going back to coaching. Never, like, during this time, never considered it, right? I'm still making good money, like, and I don't have to depend on him. He, whatever, all the things. Well, then God had started telling me in November of last year to leave my job. He had started telling me in November of last year to leave my job. And I was like, okay, I will. But I wasn't. And I can remember, like, coming home from work crying because I would be so frustrated about what was going on at work, the disrespect, the microaggressions, the racism, the sexism, like all of the things that were going on. But I still wouldn't leave. It was like that job had me in a chokehold. But here I am again. I'm not showing the same manifestation of the disobedience. I'm not showing the same manifestation of the pride and the disappointment that I was having at home. I was just handling it in a different way. I had just made a decision, like, I'm still depending on me. I'm still very heavily depending on me, but I don't realize it. This is something that God has just been revealing to me throughout the course of this year. So then God began to, like, have women come to me again, asking me for coaching. And I started to do it, but I wasn't doing it, like, with any level of intention. Like, I was not seeking to coach anybody. I was not seeking to counsel. But this is just like a gift that God has given me, and it literally opens doors for people. It helps get people on the right track, but I don't have any interest in doing it. I done started a real estate transaction firm. I done started a CPR firm. Like, listen, I'm making money in different ways because I know that I'm about to leave this job. Well, I still hadn't left the job. Hi, Sheila. I still hadn't left the job in February. So by the end of January, so Precious, I have my director, my assistant director of nursing. Her name was Precious too. That's my baby. But she left in December. She gave her notice, and I was like, "You can't leave me. Like, what's, like, girl? Like, what? No, I can't do this without you." And but I still stayed because I, again, was never going to put myself in that position again, right? And so by January, you could tell, like, they were starting to, God was like, okay, if you won't move, I'm going to move you, period, okay? So they had started the things, like trying to build up a case about me, lying on me, saying that my nurses was still in narcotics. Like they had started the things. And so then, anyway, I got let go. So during this whole time, God told me to get on TikTok. No idea why TikTok. He told me to get on TikTok. I get on there. I started following people. I started going live. I started making some money from my live videos, which, is still an okay source of income, right? But God began to reveal, as I'm teaching every day, he began to teach me through me. He began to show me all the ways that I came out of agreement with him, all of the things that I was doing concerning pride. And he was using me as an avenue, not only to help me, but to help other women not do it, right? So then I'm reading this book that I wrote, and I'm seeing this trend. And then what God revealed to me this morning is this is your opportunity again. This is your opportunity, because what he has written for you is written for you. You are not powerful enough to stop, to derail the will and the plan and the purpose of God for your life. You are not that powerful. But you do have the ability to make things difficult for yourself, and you do have the ability to lose it. But to stop the plan of God, you're not that powerful. So when God gives you another opportunity, and this is for the season is here, the transition is here, this is happening. Many of us, we know that this is happening by the Spirit, but we also are seeing the changes in our life. But what we want to be sure that we don't do is to improperly align ourselves. So I'm going to go back to something that God told me earlier this year that we talked about, was when Eve ate from, hi Imani, when Eve ate from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, their eyes were open, okay? I need you to remember that God had already created us perfectly. We already had two eyes. I'm using my phone, my other phone is dead, so I can't get to my Bible. But I need you to understand that we already had two eyes. So when our eyes was open, that was a third eye. That was the eye of the occult. I need you to understand this. I need you to understand that when that eye was open, the DNA change occurred in our life. We went from being made, made in the image and likeness of God, agreeing with God. God is the person who is using our body to accomplish what he wants to accomplish in the earth, to now our eye is open. And when we transfer kingdoms, because that is what we did, when we transferred kingdoms, that made us more susceptible to everything that would be what you got to remember is that we were given the knowledge of evil at that point, right? And so when you become knowledgeable, I want you to think about Adam knowing his wife, okay? When you become knowledgeable or something, that is like an intimacy, okay? That is like an intimacy. And because of that intimacy with evil, our DNA changed. Our DNA now was, not only was our eye open, which our eye is a gateway. Our ears are a gateway. Our mouth is a gateway. So we ate the fruit of that knowledge. We ate, not necessarily, it didn't have to be a piece of fruit, but when you eat the fruit of something, you are ingesting something, the fruit of something. So the apple tree bears the apples as a fruit. Evil bears evil as fruit. One of the definitions of evil is malignant, right? So I need you to understand it's evil, it's occult, it's sickness. So from that point, I need you to understand that this is not about the garden. This is about you. Whenever you come into alignment, this is about Precious. Whenever you come into alignment with something that God never meant for you to come into alignment with, you have opened up a door, and you do not get to choose what comes in through that door. So when you're eating the fruit of evil, you are eating the fruit of all of what evil could mean, right? You are eating the fruit of sickness. You're eating the fruit of discomfort. You're eating the fruit of rebellion, because the enemy was rebellious. You have to remember, he was the anointed cherub. He was perfect in all of his ways from the day that he was created. Go read this in Isaiah, right? He was beautiful, he was adorned in gold and jewels. I need you to understand, God loved him and God adorned him with love. But his pride, I'm behind 4 videos, but his pride, when iniquity was found in him, which is what is found in many of us, his pride opened up the door to rebellion. His pride opening up the door to him obeying another kingdom. His pride opening up the door for him to want to exalt himself above the throne of God. You might not realize it, but your pride, your inability, your refusal to obey God in all things, your refusal to seek God in as Lord in every area of your life is opening up doors that you do not know what is going to come in. I am a person, like, I need you to understand. I wanted, like, when most people wanted to become a doctor, a singer, an astronaut, like all of the things, like all I wanted was to be a mother and a wife. And I need you to understand that my feelings, my agreement with the enemy, my feeling hopeless, my feeling frustrated, it led me to come out of agreement with the thing that I wanted most, which was given to me by God. And then I started following a path. That's why Proverbs 3:5-6 says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not to your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him and he will direct your path. Because whatever you trust in is going to direct your path. So I need you to understand that the enemy attacked my hope. He attacked my belief. And when he attacked my hope and when he attacked my belief, I began, like, because I didn't fight back, because I came into agreement, I then began to give up on the thing that I had wanted my entire life. That was stolen from me. And I agree with it. I allowed myself to be used as a vessel to steal from me the very thing that I had always wanted. I need you to understand this. The enemy is going to come after you. I gotta shut this door. The enemy is going to come after the things that you love the most, and he's going to make you come into agreement with him if you are not careful. But God comes that you might have life and that you might have it more abundantly. That you might have it more abundantly. So listen, I need you to understand this. I was living in the middle of the manifestation of everything that I had prayed for, and I got mad. I got mad and I felt hopeless. But what does the Bible say about hope? I wish I had my scripture because I don't want to. My hope is built on nothing less than Jesus' love and righteousness. Listen, I need you to understand that our faith and our hope is how we communicate our belief and trust in God. Like, our faith and our hope is how we communicate our dependence on him. And so of course that's what the enemy is going to attack most. Like, we have to understand. And then when he is able to, hi Kimberly, when he is able to get us distracted and feeling hopeless, what does he do? He tries to make us depend on something else. He doesn't care what the something else is. He doesn't care if you start to depend on yourself. He doesn't care if you start to depend on another man. He don't care if you start to depend on your business. But as long as you are not depending on God, that means God is not seated as Lord over your life. And that means that he is not responsible. The enemy can defeat you. The enemy can give you miracles, signs, and wonders because they are lying signs and wonders. But he cannot defeat God. God is not, like, the enemy is not God's equal. So I need you to understand that if he can get you to come into agreement with yourself, because you got to remember that satanic, in the satanic Bible, it says, do as thou wilt. It don't sound satanic when you say it from your fleshly mind. It sounds like you're like, because I want to follow God. But do you know that there is more than one God, more than one little g God? There is only one God, King of Kings, Lord of Lords. But do you know how many people how many think, like, people have enthroned the universe, which is something that God created, as a God in their life, as something that can lead them and guide them and direct them. People have enthroned sage to fight off evil. So people have enthroned, like, things that don't have any power because they have come into agreement with something. People have enthroned their skin color. People have enthroned their gender. People have enthroned their jobs. People have enthroned their feelings, and they wonder why the world is in the state that it's in. I'm people, by the way, because clearly there was a point that I said to God without, like, here's the thing. We don't understand that when we are disobedient to God, the message that we are communicating to him is, my way is better than yours. That's what we're saying without saying it. What we are saying when we are disobedient to God is, I know better than you. What we're saying when we're being disobedient to God is, I know that you created the sun, the moon, the earth, the water, the animals, but God, I know more than you. I can handle this situation. You sit down, I got this. That's what you're saying to God in your disobedience. Do you know that rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft? Why is that? Because witchcraft is manipulation. Witchcraft, like, okay, so there is the will of God, which is the perfect, which is pure, which is what it is that, like, he designed for us to do. How God chose a vessel. Like, there is the will of God, and then there is the will of the enemy, or the will of you, right? That is coming to manipulate the will of God, because the will of God comes with direction. The will of God comes with strategy. The will of God, like, it has a destination and a way for you to get there. But you have chosen, now God has shown you the destination, right? But you have chosen not to follow the path of God. So you have manipulated your way into doing something your own way. And that is witchcraft, no matter what. Witchcraft is not all about sorcery. It's not all about potions. It's not about spell. It is literally about disobedience and manipulating your life, which does not belong to you, into the way that you want it to be. It's witchcraft. If we can get that revelation that when there was darkness upon the face of the deep, if you look up that word darkness, it means the occult, it means hidden things. If you were to get the revelation of how demonic this world system is, you would be full of repentance, and you would fall on your face, and you would pray, and you would fast, and you would ask God to show me the error of my ways. I pray that God has mercy on us all. Mercy, mercy, mercy. Mercy. Lord, have mercy on our souls. Lord, have mercy on our soul. Listen, when God had me write that Dad Blessed ebook on pride. And then let me tell you, so I did the workshop on it. And there was one day when nobody showed up at first, but God knew that I would be faithful to teach it. And then somebody ended up showing up, and we talked about this thing. It ended up being like a coaching session. But what I have learned about God is, my friend Dom, she's Empower Her Community. She did this live. She's doing a Don't Hide challenge. I told you guys this at the beginning. But yesterday she said something so powerful that I don't know, like, if we understand this about ourselves. Like, when God is using us to teach, to preach, to minister the gospel of Jesus Christ, to minister the good news, to tell about how mercy, like, we look at the Old Testament God, like, he was so full of rage and wrath, and he was murdering everybody, and he was, but do you know how many times he showed people mercy? God has never not been merciful. But when she said yesterday, she said when Moses was delivering the people, he was also delivering himself. And it just made so much sense to me, because as I'm teaching, like, God had me write the ebook for pride for y'all, but primarily he had me write it for me. He had me write the workbook for pride for y'all, but primarily he had me to do it for me. Because why? Because as I go back and I'm teaching what he literally wrote the book through me in a day. And then he had me do a workshop to teach it. And when I tell you I did an in-depth study on it, it has opened up my eyes to so many things that not only God has been showing me all year, but he's showing me the strategy of not to fall through the cracks again, of not to let my fall happen like this again, to where I don't even notice it. And then before you know it, my eyes are above the water. I'm not in the deep things of God anymore. See, because I told you I never stopped praying and fasting. I never stopped studying my Bible. But was I deep anymore? No. So I went from being submerged in the depth of the Word of God to I'm now seeing things at a surface level. And when I can see things at a surface level, I start to think about how I can do it on my own. And when anything that I'm doing on my own, I am responsible for. But anything I'm doing in obedience to and submission to God, he is responsible for. The process, listen, is to teach us to constantly be submitted to the authority of God. Period. We are not to be leaning to our own understanding. We are not to be making choices in and of ourselves. We are not to be walking on a path. Listen, we got to obey God. And every time we don't, we see failure. Not because it's a punishment, but because God ain't a liar. Because God is the one that is able to keep us and sustain us. He is the one that's able. He is the one that's able to do exceedingly abundantly above all we can ask or think. Not me. Not you. He told me so clearly the other day. He said the only reason that you've been striving for a job is because you're worried about how your husband feels. You worried about not depending on him. You worried about how he's going to treat you. True. But even if even if he continues to do the same things that he did historically, God told me in my dream, he will deal with that. But God is responsible for me as long as I'm submitted to him. But as long as I make myself my responsibility, I make myself my responsibility. And because I know what it's like to be totally dependent on God, this me and my responsibility ain't fun. Now, humbling yourself to get back into a place is hard because you make it hard. It's hard because you don't want to, it's hard because you have started to depend on yourself so much that you don't want to go back to people thinking that they can talk to you however they want to. But God said, if you just take your hands off and let me be God, do you think have I ever played about you? When you were submerged, when you were in the deep things of me, was I playing about you then, or was everything going the way that I planned it? But because you didn't even see yourself rise, or you didn't see your depth fall, then you didn't really understand that it was me the whole time. Because you could see, now you didn't even understand that it was always me. You put yourself in this position. P. Now you got to allow in order for you to get out of it, you have to die to yourself. That's why he's had me fasting more this year than I've ever fasted. Crazy part is, back in 2015, one of the prayers that I asked for was, God, send me some friends to pray and fast with. So anyway, I just wanted to give that. I didn't even realize that I got on before 12:30. I didn't even realize that. I just was in that conversation with Dom, and I was like, you know what? I got a little bit of energy right now. I'm going to just go ahead and press the button now. Because people need, you need to know that the enemy wants to kill you. If it's not you physically, which ultimately he does. I need you to understand. Months ago, probably in October, God told me to look up the root. It's so, this world is so demonic. It is insane. God told me to look up the root of colleges and universities and our educational system and our government, and the things that I uncovered. I need you to understand, we were never to be governed by anybody other than God. When he created us, he made us governors in this earth. He told us to go forth, be fruitful, to multiply, to have dominion and subdue. If that's not government, I don't know what it is. But everything that we were doing in the government, we were doing it under the rulership of the Lord, right? But when we gave over our right by coming into agreement, by eating the fruit of the knowledge of evil, by becoming intimate with evil, we then gave our flesh over to the enemy, and then he was able to rule through us. So instead of God ruling through us, the enemy was ruling through us. But God had a plan. He had a plan to restore us to our governmental positions. The first thing that we got to govern is ourselves. The first thing we got to govern is ourselves. My friend Ken always says we have to teach our spirit to govern our flesh. I don't know if she used the word govern. To parent. That's what she says. To parent our flesh. Amen. Amen. No, listen. Me too. Okay? Okay, me too. Make sure you're following me. All of my YouTubes, well, not the last 4 because I ain't been feeling good. But all of these TikTok lives go into my YouTube channel under a playlist called TT Live. I don't know if I'm going to go back to do the other 4, but I will do this one because I'm going to need to watch this one again myself. So make sure you're following me here and there. And then if you're interested in the book on Pride, it's an ebook. It's a link in my bio. It is so good. The ebook and the workbook are so good. I'm still, I did the workshop did the workbook during the workshop. And I'm still working on the very first one. Because, God ain't playing with me. I can do it again if I want to. I bet you I won't. I bet you I will get every lesson up out of this one. He might have to teach me something else, but he ain't going to have to teach me this again. No, sir. Like that one old man said, hit the road. Nope, I'm not doing it no more. You can forget it, Satan. You can get it. Hit the road, Jack. Hit the road. But anyway, the ebook is in my bio. I'm starting to feel sick again. I'm about to go to the bathroom. I also listen, God told me to open back up my one-on-one coaching. That link is in my bio. Uh, I took Kingdom Wife Academy link down, not because it's not happening, but because God wanted me to reformat it. And so I'll have that back up. I don't know when, because I don't feel good. And I don't know if I'm going to get in front of the computer, but it'll be back up soon. But there is a form that you can fill out if you're interested. Do y'all have any questions? I hope that this blessed you. As soon as I get off of here, I'm going to download it. It takes about 30 minutes to download. And then I'll upload it into... Thank you, Don. I'm starting to get sick again. And then I'm going to upload it into my YouTube channel. I love you guys so much. Hopefully I'll see you tomorrow. My goal is to come on every day at 12:30. I came on early today without even realizing that I was coming on early today. Like I said, I just had a little bit of energy when I was talking to my friend, and I was like, I'm just about to press live. So I did it. But I'll be live tomorrow at some point. Hopefully I will be live tomorrow at some point, even if I'm looking like this. Like, at least I took the scarf off my head. I told them I was going to go on with the scarf on my head, but at least I took the scarf off my head. Okay, y'all. But I love you so much. There's nothing